Plymouth sitting at -2 degrees Celsius this morning, whilst Aberdeen enjoys a relatively mild 4 degrees. Yes, you heard that correctly. The southwest colder than the far north of Scotland. Is your area about to face one of the most complex weather patterns we've seen this winter? Right now, the Met Office has yellow warnings covering 17 counties across England and Wales, affecting nearly 12 million people with freezing rain and ice concerns. In the next 12 minutes, I'll break down exactly when this Arctic air arrives in your specific location, why the models are disagreeing about the weekend, and the one detail that could change everything for Monday morning commuters. But first, drop your city or county in the comments right now, and I'll give you a personalized forecast in tomorrow's video based on the latest model runs. London, you are looking at a high of 6 degrees today, dropping to 2 tonight with a sharp frost developing. Manchester, 4 degrees your maximum, rain turning to sleet on higher ground by evening. Birmingham currently at 3 degrees, staying cold through the week, with temperatures struggling to reach 5 degrees even in the afternoon sunshine. Glasgow, milder at 7 degrees today, but that S about to change dramatically. Cardiff experiencing persistent drizzle, 5 degrees, clearing tonight, but ice will be a major concern on untreated surfaces. Belfast, 6 degrees with blustery showers, some of these turning wintry on the Antrim Hills overnight. Now, here's what nobody's talking about. The temperature inversion we're re-seeing this morning isn't just unusual, it's actually setting up something rather significant for later this week. Cold air is pooling in the southwest valleys, whilst milder Atlantic air is still clinging on across Scotland. But the Met Office unified model is showing this completely flipping by Thursday evening. The European model, however, suggests Friday morning. That 12-hour difference matters enormously for anyone travelling through the Midlands on Friday. Let me show you what I mean. Nottingham, you are sitting right on the boundary of where this flip occurs, currently showing rain for Friday morning in the Met Office model, but the ECMWF has you in snow by 6 o'clock. Leicester, similar story. The difference between a wet commute and a potentially treacherous one comes down to which model verifies. We'll have a clearer picture tomorrow morning when the latest ensemble runs come through, so do check back, because this is genuinely one where timing is everything. Leeds and Sheffield, the Pennines are going to be particularly interesting. You are looking at accumulating snow above 300 metres from Thursday night, but here's the crucial bit. If that boundary drops just 50 miles south, you are not talking about hill snow anymore. You are talking about snow settling at lower levels across both cities. Bradford, Huddersfield, you are in the same situation. The gradient is incredibly tight on this one. Newcastle and the northeast, you are actually in a slightly different air mass altogether. Whilst the Midlands are battling this transition, you are firmly in the colder Arctic air from Thursday onwards. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Durham, expect temperatures maxing out at just 2 to 3 degrees from Thursday through the weekend, with frequent snow showers coming in off the North Sea. These will be most frequent along the coast, so Tynemouth, Whitley Bay, you'll see the bulk of the activity. Now, Edinburgh, I mentioned you were mild today at 7 degrees. By Friday, you are looking at 1 degree, possibly 0 if the wind picks up. The feels like temperature drops even further. Inverness and Aberdeen, you are transitioning to this colder regime even earlier, from Wednesday night actually. Fort William, particularly exposed to northerly winds, could see significant accumulations in the mountains. The ski resorts will be rather pleased, I should think. But here's where it gets interesting, and I want you to remember this for later. Around the 8-minute mark, I am going to explain why Sunday night into Monday morning could be the most disruptive period we've seen this winter for southern England, not the Midlands, not the North, southern England. Keep that in mind. Bristol and the southwest, you are clearing up nicely today after that cold start. Tomorrow looks decent, actually. Some sunshine, highs of 7 degrees in Bristol, 8 in Exeter, Plymouth recovering to 6 degrees after that freezing start. But don't be fooled by the brief reprieve. Saturday brings another system, and this is where the uncertainty really ramps up. Southampton, Portsmouth, Brighton along the south coast, the maritime influence usually keeps you milder, doesn't it? But this weekend, with high pressure building to the east and low pressure approaching from the west, you are in a rather precarious position. The Met Office is suggesting mostly rain for Saturday. The GFS model agrees, but the European model has been consistently showing a period where cold air gets dragged down from the north, and if that verifies, we are looking at sleet or wet snow, particularly Saturday evening. Oxford, Cambridge, you are both showing very similar patterns. Daytime temperatures Saturday around 5 degrees, dropping sharply Saturday night. Any precipitation after 9 p.m. Saturday night has the potential to fall as snow, albeit probably not settling significantly in the cities themselves. But the surrounding villages, the higher ground around the Chilterns, the Cotswolds, that's a different matter entirely. Let me just clarify something, because I want to be precise about this. When I say snow, I'm talking about proper snowflakes, not just sleet. But whether it settles depends entirely on ground temperatures, and that S where we have the most uncertainty right now. The ground is relatively warm after weeks of mild, wet weather, so even if we see snow falling, it may not accumulate immediately in urban areas. Rural areas where temperatures drop faster, different story. Actually, hang on, let me check that model run again. Yes, the 12 Zulu GFS has just come in, and it is backing off slightly on the intensity for the southeast. That is quite a significant change from the 6 Zulu run. This is exactly why I am saying come back tomorrow, because these shifts are happening run to run at the moment. Norwich, Ipswich, the East Anglian coast, you're getting battered by some really quite unpleasant wind chill from the North Sea. Temperatures may say 4 or 5 degrees, but it's going to feel more like -1 or -2 in that wind. Great Yarmouth, Lowestoft, proper biting conditions along the seafront. Not pleasant at all, I'm afraid. Swansea and West Wales, you've got something slightly different developing. A secondary low-pressure system is showing up in the models for Sunday, tracking north through the Irish Sea. Now, if this develops as the European model suggests, you are looking at some really quite heavy precipitation Sunday afternoon into evening. And given the temperatures at that point, there is a reasonable chance of this falling as snow, particularly on higher ground in Snowdonia and the Brecon Beacons. Bangor, you are perfectly positioned for this if it comes off. Could see 10 to 15 centimetres on Snowdon Summit, lesser amounts at lower levels, but still enough to cause disruption if it reaches the A55. Wrexham, Chester, you are on the eastern edge of this system, so more likely rain for you, but worth monitoring certainly. Northern Ireland, Belfast, I mentioned earlier you are at 6 degrees today. The whole province shifts colder from Thursday. Derry, Newry, Armagh, you are all looking at highs of just 3 to 4 degrees Friday and Saturday. Sunday, that low I mentioned for Wales could clip you as well, so potential for some snow showers, particularly in the Sperrin Mountains and higher ground. Across to Scotland is west coast. Glasgow, you transition from 7 degrees today to 3 degrees Friday. Oban, Fort William, the Western Highlands, frequent snow showers in the northerly flow from Friday onwards. Isle of Skye and the Western Isles facing similar conditions, feeling particularly raw in that wind. Perth, Dundee, the Central Belt, you are in the firing line for those North Sea showers. Friday through Sunday, expect frequent snow showers, some potentially heavy. The A9 could be particularly affected. The Orkney and Shetland Islands, you are properly in the Arctic flow by Thursday with frequent snow showers and strong winds. Now, there's one thing that concerns me most about this entire forecast. And we at that point I mentioned earlier. Sunday night into Monday morning, here the scenario. High pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure over France. Between them, a very tight pressure gradient develops right across southern England. The Met Office model is showing this, the European model is showing this, even the GFS ensemble mean is picking it up. What does this mean practically? It means east or northeast winds, quite strong actually, funneling moisture in from the continent. And here is the key, that moisture has to rise as it hits the South Downs, the North Downs, the Chilterns. As it rises, it cools. As it cools in early February, you get snow. Brighton, Worthing, Eastbourne on the south coast, you are looking at potential snow Sunday night. Guildford, Maidstone, Canterbury in the southeast, similar situation. The M25 could be significantly affected. Luton, Heathrow, if this comes off as the models suggest, Monday morning flights could face delays. I am not saying this to be dramatic. I am saying this because 3 separate models are now showing this scenario, and the Met Office has hinted at possible warnings for early next week. Crawley, Tunbridge Wells, Ashford, you are all in this zone. Dover, Folkestone, the Channel ports, could see some of the heaviest snowfall if the continental moisture really gets going. We're potentially talking 5 to 10 centimetres, more on the downs. That's not nothing for southern England in February. Reading, Basingstoke, Slough, you are just on the western edge. Could go either way for you. Windsor, High Wycombe, similar uncertainty. This is where tomorrow's model runs become absolutely critical. The difference between a light dusting and significant disruption is genuinely a 50-mile shift in that boundary. Back to the Midlands briefly. Derby, you're at 4 degrees today, 3 degrees Friday, and then potentially some snow showers Saturday night. Not heavy, but enough to require the gritters. Stoke-on-Trent, similar pattern. Wolverhampton, Coventry, Warwick, you are all in that transition zone I keep mentioning. Liverpool and Merseyside, actually you are coming out of this slightly better than much of the country. The Irish Sea moderates your temperatures somewhat, so whilst it'll be cold, 4 to 5 degrees this weekend, the precipitation stays mostly as rain or sleet rather than snow. Blackpool up the coast, similar story, though the filled coast will feel rather raw in that northwest wind. York, a beautiful city that doesn't handle snow particularly well, unfortunately. You're looking at a tricky weekend. Those North Sea showers I've mentioned repeatedly, you are going to get some of those, especially Saturday night and Sunday. The historic city centre, the cobbled streets, could become quite treacherous if we get settling snow. Lancaster, Kendal, the Southern Lakes, you are in an interesting position geographically. Cold enough for snow, but you might miss the heaviest of the showers. Carlisle, you will definitely see some wintry precipitation, but nothing too dramatic. The Scottish borders, Dumfries, Galashiels, frequent snow showers Friday and Saturday in that northerly flow. Cornwall and Devon, after that exceptionally cold start this morning, you are recovering tomorrow with 7 or 8 degrees. But Saturday into Sunday brings that Atlantic system with wind and rain. Exeter, Truro, Penzance, Newquay. Gusts could reach 70 kilometres per hour on exposed coasts. Dartmoor could see 10 centimetres of snow above 400 metres. I know this isn't ideal for many of you. 3 weeks of near constant rain across southern England, and now we are potentially looking at disruptive snow. The models are still wobbling somewhat on the exact details, which is why I genuinely need you to check back tomorrow. Not as a figure of speech, I mean literally, the morning model runs tomorrow will clarify whether that Sunday night, Monday morning snow risk is high confidence, or if it is backing off. Right then, let me address the uncertainty head on, because I think it's important. Forecasting this far out, we re at day 4, day 5, day 6 for some of these events. The models can and do change significantly. What I am giving you is the current best estimate based on multiple model guidance and the Met Office zone predictions. But this could still shift. The European model has been more consistent than the GFS on the broad pattern, that cold northerly flow establishing from Thursday. Where they disagree is the intensity and exact track of these smaller systems, particularly that Sunday night one I've been banging on about. Tomorrow morning S runs should bring more agreement. If they do, confidence increases. If they diverge further, well, that tells us something too. Here is what I can say with high confidence. Thursday onwards, it's going to feel properly cold across most of the UK. Temperatures suppressed, wind chill significant, wintry showers for many areas. Beyond that, the details matter enormously for your specific location. And that S where the uncertainty lies. For those of you who commented asking about longer range prospects, the signals for mid to late February remain mixed. Some indications of high pressure building, other indications of continued Atlantic influence. Too early to call with any confidence. One more comment reminder here, and I mean this sincerely. If you want a personalized forecast for your area based on tomorrow S latest data, drop your location below. I read every single comment and I'll do my best to address as many locations as possible in tomorrow S update. I genuinely find it helpful to know where you are all watching from, and it helps me tailor the coverage to the areas that matter most to you. All right, let me recap briefly where we are. Cold start this morning with that unusual temperature inversion, southwest colder than Scotland. Transitioning to a properly cold northerly regime from Thursday, affecting the whole country, but particularly central and eastern areas. Uncertainty around precipitation timing and type, especially for the Midlands and South Friday into Saturday. Significant concern about Sunday night into Monday morning for southern England, potential disruptive snow from an east or northeast flow, but this needs monitoring closely. Tomorrow S video will be crucial. I'll have the latest model runs, updated Met Office guidance, and I should be able to give you much more specific timing for those of you in the uncertain zones. The situation is genuinely evolving run by run at the moment. For tomorrow specifically, Tuesday the 4th of February, expect the coldest air to start pushing in from the north. Scotland feeling it first, the Midlands and South by evening. Wednesday continues cold. Thursday, we reef fully in that Arctic air mass. Friday is the first day where precipitation meets the cold air at lower levels, hence the snow risk ramping up. Saturday, continued cold and showery. Sunday night, Monday morning, that is the potential disruptive event for the South. I'll be back tomorrow at the usual time, 9 o'clock in the morning, with a full update. Thank you so much for watching, for engaging, for being patient with the uncertainty that is inherent in these forecasts. Your comments and questions make these videos better, they really do. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.